with the youths of Steel at Junior Panorama. Then it's Pan Power all the way at Panorama, where the music hits hard and the passion runs dry. Celebrate the future of Calypso at the Junior Calypso Monarch and witness the lyrical mastery at Calypso Fiesta. Then step back into history with the reenactment of the Cambile riots. Don't miss the creativity and spectacle of the kings and queens of Carnival. And be sure to stay tuned as we turn it all the way up for Dimashra. Pure performance, pure pageantry, pure Carnival magic. Then follow the heartbeat of the nation with the parade of the bands on Carnival Monday and Tuesday, when the streets come alive with color, rhythm, and freedom. Live broadcasts, special shows, all the vibes. This Carnival season, don't just watch it, feel it, live it, experience it, right here on TTT.
We start off on a high note this morning. It was another groundbreaking performance in the career of Trinidad and Tobago sprinter Jareem "The Dream" Richards. This time in the 2026 New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Richards defeated reigning Olympic 100-meter champion and 8-time world champion Noah Lyles in a photo finish in the men's 300-meter final in Boston, Massachusetts. Here's some of that for you.
This past Saturday at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in Boston, Trinidad and Tobago World Athletic Championship silver medalist Jareem "The Dream" Richards had a massive opportunity in front of him when he went head-to-head with the reigning 100-meter Olympic champion and 8-time world champion Noah Lyles in the men's 300-meter final. Richards in lane 6 took on Lyles in lane 5 alongside USA runners Vernon Norwood and Trayvon Bromell. Richards made life tough for the world champion, taking an early lead. Lyles thought he came from behind to secure the win, but Richards had other ideas as he held on to win by 1/100th of a second, clocking a time of 32.14, marking a monumental victory for the TNT native. Following the groundbreaking result, the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Philip Watts, via a social media post, extended heartfelt congratulations to Jareem Richards for his outstanding performance. The post added that Richards' performance reflected the highest standard of excellence, discipline, and national pride. Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
Thanks so much, Adrian, for that. Well, joining us now is the man himself, Jareem Richards, on the phone. Good morning, Jareem.
Hi, good morning, and I would like to extend a hearty good morning and a blessed day to Trinidad and Tobago.
Jareem, congratulations on that huge win in Boston. We can't even talk about that. That type of success, it is probably, you're probably on a high still. But before we even talk about that, take us back to that moment right before the race started. What emotions were you feeling standing on that line, getting ready?
Getting ready for the race, honestly, I went through my usual race repertoire, I would say. Just try to spend time with God right before the race, just to center my mind and center my focus. And that was basically it for me. I was just kind of locked in and focused on my ability to perform at the highest level, and that's what I went out there to do.
So, Jareem, walk us through now, those final meters when Noah started to close. What was going through your mind, seeing him getting so close, but you were just as close? It was just so tight.
It was definitely a very close race. I think a lot of people don't really know the history of that specific indoor event. Noah was once the indoor record holder in the 300 meters. And I think my fastest time is 10th in history. So it was definitely one of the greatest matchups in the event, particularly over the past few years. And within the last few meters, being in lane 6, I have an advantage, but I have a disadvantage. My advantage would be that coming down the incline of an indoor track, I would have more momentum because in layman's terms, the hill to run down is steeper for me. But the downside to it is that Noah is behind me and he could gauge and see where I'm at. So it's easier for him to see a target and run. So in the dying meters or the last meters of the 300-meter race, I actually started to stumble a bit coming down the hill. And I started to lose my steps, and in track and field, it's all about hitting the correct positions. So my hips kind of got out of alignment, and I wasn't able to hit the correct position. So within the last 3 or 4 meters, I finally was able to get my hips in the right position and strike the ground how I should, and that was basically the deciding factor of the race.
Yeah. So, Jareem, now when you crossed that line and you realized, wow, I just beat him and I won, what was the first thing that you thought?
I was happy. I was happy. It was a race that a lot of people anticipated. There was a lot of talk on social media, so I was just one to stay quiet. I believe in actions over words. So I was just happy to get it done and over with. And it's what track and sport is about, being able to perform at the highest level. And some people will think that it comes with pressure, but I actually really embrace that type of pressure, because that type of pressure is what brings out the best in athletes, So all I could have said was glory to God, and I was just happy that I was able to come through with the win.
So this individual, Noah Lyles, very, very talented. But we also that moment between you and Noah after the race, they hug the congratulations. What did Noah say to you? Would you tell us? And what did you say back to him? Share that moment with us.
A lot of people might know, some might not know, but Noah is actually my training partner. So we train in the same group together. I've seen him practice multiple times, and obviously leading up to this meet, I've seen how he has been working and doing in practice. So I know that I had to come out here and put a show on and put my best foot forward, because he's in good shape. Thank God that so am I. But after the race, he was just very happy for me, and he was like, it was a really good race. It was one of the best races he's ever ran, and he really enjoyed it and had fun. And I was like, likewise, me too. Like, it was one of the most competitive races. It was, in a sense, a nail biter, very, very close. So I enjoy races like that, because it comes down to the detail. How detailed are you? How locked in are you? How bad do you want it? So, like, every step, every moment mattered. And it was just two competitors being happy to be part of something so monumental.
And two training partners as well. Jeremy, allow me to get a little bit technical. Now, from our research, you're best known as a 400-meter specialist, and Noah dominates the 100 and 200. Now, was this 300-meter race something that you treated as just another race, or you actually had to tailor your training and fitness drills especially for this type of distance?
Actually, we didn't tailor anything specifically for this race, because the 300 meters is more of an unconventional race. It's like a fun race. It's not an official. I don't want to, take out the value of the race itself, but it's not a race that you're going to see in our World Indoor Championships. It's more like a fundamental race, gauging in between. Now, the good thing about it is you get athletes from the best of both worlds. You get athletes that run the 100, 200 meters that could step up to the 3, and you get athletes from the 200, 400 meters realm like me, who could step, in a sense, down or maybe a little bit up, depending on what type of athlete you are, but step down or up to the 300 meters. So to answer your question, tailor specifically for the 300 meters, no, we are on the same training cycle or similar training cycle that we've been on over the past few years, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. Thank you to Coach Lance Brahman and Coach Keston Bledman.
Jim, let's talk about support. For example, support from Sport TT, Ministry of Sport. How important is that kind of support for not just you, but athletes preparing for something so demanding in the international season?
It's very important, and I would like to extend thank you to my sponsors, Atlantic and Bridens, and also the Ministry of Sport for funding athletes, elite athletes, and some of the younger athletes coming up too. Because when you look at the world-class athletes and me training in the U.S. and seeing the resources available to them, I could see why there are so many elite athletes and what it takes to get to that level. So funding and being there to support an athlete is very important, especially if you want medals, you want world-class athletes, because for us, there's so much that goes into, becoming a world-class athlete or being at the highest level. So it's definitely something that is very needed, and you can't just say, well, you just need to train hard and that is it. It comes with nutrition, it comes with good training in the gym and outside of and on the track, and it comes with nutrition, it comes with sports psychologists, like all these things. There's chiropractors, doctors, like all these things come into play. So
yeah,
athletes definitely do need a level of support.
Dream, I want to dive a little bit deeper for a second. We've lost a lot of talent over the years. Coaches, analysts, athletes, to opportunities abroad, and you would agree. How important is it to stay connected to Trinidad and Tobago and help to build this sport locally? And what can we do to keep our talent here in TNT?
I think it's a group project. I think years past, we've always heard people playing the blame game, I guess, blaming it on athletes, blaming it on coaches, blaming it on government, blaming it on this and that, and everybody just kind of blaming each other on, what it takes to make sport better, or what it takes to develop different sports. But I think instead of blaming or pinpointing one specific entity or one specific group, I think it's just better that we just come together and fix the problems that are already there. And I think one of the biggest things is that we just need to, as a group, develop sport. Like, athletes need to do better, coaches need to do better, like everyone all around the board just needs to come together and do better, because we have to have a system that works, a system that is successful, that encourages everyone to do well and everyone to be able to say, well, okay, this works. I could stay in Trinidad and Tobago because we have meets, we have the resources, we have the funding, we have all these things. We have the high-level coaches. So I think once that, as a country, we come together and have that level of support and work together so that we are successful as a country, I think that will help a lot in producing and continuing to mass produce high-level quality athletes. But it's going to be a group project until we could come together to fix that problem. I think it would always be kind of a broken thing. And the problem, one of the sad things is, that we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talented athletes, as you say, that just kind of just go to waste because they reach a point where nothing is available for them, or it's just better to go and find a regular job because you have to work or you have to survive. So I think we need to just come together, everyone, coaches, athletes, government, and even corporate sponsors and everyone, and just be able to have a solid plan on how do we develop track and field and sport in Trinidad and Tobago, because it's a multi-million dollar thing all over the world. We just really need to have a solid plan and structure going forward.
Dream, now you're part of a strong group of elite athletes, we would all agree, alongside Michelle Lee, i.e. Marshall Cedeno. How important is that collective success in rebuilding the confidence that people have in TNT athletics?
It's very important. For years I've said I think track and field is probably one of the most underrated sports in Trinidad and Tobago. Very held to a very high standard, but judged very unfairly. We are the most successful sport in Trinidad and Tobago history. Most successful. And I'm not just saying it because it is my sport. If you do the research, you would see. We have access to, track and field has the most championships in any sport. So we're always going to be in your face. But for some reason, the common person in Trinidad and Tobago only values the Olympic Games. And people not just, for some reason, I don't know, we're just not that interested in sport. It it definitely means a lot to be held to a high standard, but I feel like we also need that level of value from the people, that level of interest from the people of Trinidad and Tobago to better understand, I would say, the magnitude of successes that track and field has been able to achieve for this country over the years. Like, if you really sit and do your research, it's been a very, very successful sport over the years. It's a very difficult sport, but I just wish we were a bit more valued, I would say, in our own country.
Well, finally, Jareem, for young athletes listening this morning, you know, especially those on local tracks and they have these big dreams, what advice would you give them?
What advice I would give to any young athlete? The first thing I would say is put God first in each and everything that you do. Trust in Him and lean not on your own understanding. There's going to be a lot of times where you have doubt or maybe things may not have gone to plan, but just keep trusting and keep listening and working and, you know, trusting within His will. And the last thing I would say is, you know, to be delusional in the sense of don't think that any goal is too far-fetched. Now, you have to have, obviously, and I don't want to contradict myself, but you have to have a level of realism to your dreams and your goals, but you don't want to have it too much because you're going to limit yourself. So find a level of balance where you could set big goals and strive to achieve them, and even if you don't achieve them, it's okay. So don't be afraid of failure and keep working towards your dreams. Be as disciplined as you could possibly be, because obviously if you have big dreams, that comes with a level of consistency, discipline, and prayer. So, yeah, that's why I would leave any young, upcoming, aspiring athlete to motivate them to be as best as they could be.
All right. Thank you so much, Jareem, the Dream Richards, for joining us this morning. Congratulations once again. We hope you're soaking up all of that, all the festivities, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. The time now, 6:33 a.m. When we come back, Senator David Nackett joins us as we talk more about the Zosos.
Remember long time when adults leaving children home to go fetch was normal? So many things could have gone wrong, and there's nothing normal about that. For Carnival 2026, our children's safety comes first. Choose to get a responsible adult or babysitter, and if you can't, stay home. Stop playing ting. This is a safety thing. I'm your girl Nandi, and remember, better choices, safer Carnival.
Small island mentality, Chloe, but there's a strength and a vibrancy here that you don't find anywhere else. It resides in our blood, is in the soul of the nation.
Health and wellness, the core of our existence on planet Earth. Let us hear the voices of our very own citizens, our local and regional medical community, scientists and climatologists. Caribbean Medical TV is geared to developing a consciousness in our people in terms of our health and lifestyle. Knowledge is a very powerful tool, and we must empower ourselves with the information to protect against chronic and other related diseases. From the impact of climate change on our health to NCDs, Season 3 of Caribbean Medical TV tackles the challenges we all face, giving our citizens hope for a better tomorrow. Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV.
Bring your team, bring your flags, bring your vibes. Next 99.1 FM is taking over the Savannah. Sunday 1st February, we are bringing the energy for Jam Iron on the greens. This one you don't want to miss, and it's all inclusive. So secure your packages early. Get yours today on islandetickets.com. Lock in your spot and lock in your team. Next 99.1 FM, the next level of radio.
As Parliament prepares to continue the debate on the Zones of Special Operations Bill tomorrow, attention is turning to how this legislation could reshape safety and opportunity in some of Trinidad and Tobago's most vulnerable communities. Supporters say that the ZOSOs offer a targeted, intelligence-led approach to crime, combining security, of course, with community development. And this could help to restore freedom of movement, access to education, and economic stability in long-affected areas. So joining us now this morning, Senator the Honourable David Naked and Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, who has been really vocal about the potential impact of the ZOSOs, especially along the East-West corridor. Good morning, Senator, and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you. Nice to be here.
It's good to have you here. So thanks for agreeing to be here. I know you're very busy, and you've been speaking very passionately about communities along the East-West corridor. From your perspective, why is this legislation so relevant to the lived realities of residents in those areas right now?
Well, we've seen for the last 3 or 4 decades a rise in crime, a rise in gang violence, a rise in pauperization and ghettoization of communities up and along the East-West corridor. This is a result of the lack of mobility, the lack of freedom, economic policies appropriately placed in these communities. That, of course, will lead to crime. You have poverty, you have people having food insecurity, you're going to have crime because people want to feed their families. There's nothing like a man unable to feed his family, hearing his baby cry, hearing his wife ask him for money to the supermarket and he can't provide it. That is what we call lived realities. Now we can ignore reality, but we cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring that reality. And that's what the People's National Movement has done for years, for decades. They have ignored the reality that has existed along the East-West corridor. They have not put the resources into their own communities. If we're talking about communities that are basically PNM represented communities, uninterrupted for close to 3 or 4 decades. They have not helped those communities. Let's be real. You could wear either hat, UNC or PNM. That is the reality. And I go back, you can ignore reality, you cannot ignore the consequences of it. And they have basically failed those communities. And what Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is saying, no, we have to rescue these communities. We have to make sure they have the same opportunities that other mainstream communities that they have for their people. So I think it's an initiative that people are going to see the benefits of it should we get the legislation passed.
Senator, there's been raised concern about labeling somewhere as a hotspot. And we've heard this, especially on social media. How does this bill, in your view, address safety and all of that without defining or limiting the potential of the people who actually live there?
Well, you know, we have a level of hypocrisy in Trinidad and Tobago that I like to call out and address. But it's a hotspot. It's a hotspot. People can't move in their communities. People can't go from one street to the next. There's a level of crime. They're lowest on the social indices of education, healthcare, mental health. It's a hotspot. What are we going to call it? A cool spot? What are we going to call it? A good spot? We don't see people going into these communities, from out of those communities. People go into those communities who live there. And they don't live proper lives there. They are not involved in the mainstream there. So we can continue to hide behind our finger, as we say in Arabic. Or we can address the issue. This is what we have decided to do. Kamla Prasad Bisasa has decided she's going to address the issue. We're going to get kickback from who? People who want to see these corridors continue to be hotspots. People who only want to have a mental enslavement of these people up and down the East-West corridor. So anytime they come to elections, they can get their vote. We are saying no, enough is enough. And I've been calling out this hypocrisy for years. Now we have the opportunity to have practical applications where we can actually free these people economically, socially, mentally.
Senator Naked, drawing on your own experiences growing up in the East-West corridor, how have crime and fear altered daily life and movement, especially in these communities?
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I just described it. You have people living in these communities. They can't go from one street to the next. Mm-hmm. Young men who normally can have to go out to the community for training, they can't go. You know, before we had a certain level of protection and mentorship on the corridor where even people involved in crime used to mentor young people growing up. I lived in a community, Sharfley and Mongdo, where the people who were involved in crime or some of the bad men, once they see you as a baller, they're protecting you, they're supporting you, nobody can touch you, nobody can come around you. They have games and making sure they have a Malta for you, not alcohol. I could tell you that personally. Now it has changed. Now young men can travel to training, young men can go to do their homework, young men can go for lessons. It's a nightmare for these people. Are we going to let them continue in the nightmare? Or are we, as Kamla Prasad Bisasa is saying, we have to free these people in all facets of their lives so they can continue to have good lives?
As you on the topic of freedom, one of the objectives of the ZOSOS is to restore freedom and movement for law-abiding citizens, especially those. Why is that freedom such a critical factor in community development and social mobility?
Because we can't do anything without our freedom. We can't do anything without mobility. We can't have access to the nation's opportunities unless we have that. And that's why I am so adamant and insistent that this is exactly what the PNM wants. The PNM doesn't want to liberate people in their constituencies because, as I said, a liberated mind, people with access to financial independence, makes the PNM null and void in Trinidad and Tobago. Because a liberated mind will be an educated voter. And the PNM, this should be the one most happy, this should be the ones most happy to want to liberate these communities. And they're the ones fighting against it the most. And I want the people on the East-West corridor to ask themselves, why is that? Why is that? That makes no sense if they're really interested in improving the lives of these communities.
Senator, this bill combines not only security measures, but it combines it with community development initiatives. Why is that such an important part of this legislation, and why is that going to work? How is that going to work?
It goes hand in hand. Once you want to uplift people, you have to give them a certain avenue, a pathway towards social transformation. How do you do that? You have to engage them. You have to engage the community. You have to give them opportunities. You see, once you pay them a meaningful wage, what you do, you open up an access to financial independence. What is missing? Credit is missing in these communities. They have no access to credit. How does any community come out of poverty? Credit. They have access to banking. These communities most of them can't even open an account. They can't even open an account. Most of them don't have accounts. So what we are saying, we give them that freedom of mobility. We give them access to who needs its education, for the law-abiding citizens, of course, because we are interested in clamping down on the criminals. We give these people a chance at life to get into the mainstream of life. Who would be against that? Who in their logical minds would be against the progress of people in our community, all Trinbagonians? You fix the East-West corridor, the problems on the East-West corridor, you fix Trinidad and Tobago. That is a fact that I've said for decades. fix the East-West corridor, you fix Trinidad and Tobago.
Senator Naked, some critics are arguing that these strong security measures could damage the country's international image. What do you say to that? And from your perspective, how does restoring the safety in the vulnerable communities actually strengthen Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, whoever says that is absolute rubbish. They have no idea of our history. What we've seen in the past, from 2020, foreign embassies were issuing travel warnings in Port of Spain and environs, Belmont, Lavantil, Mova, and that was under the PNM government. So when they come with that duplicitous argument that it's going to damage our international, abject nonsense. What we're doing is showing to the international community that we have taken a decisive stance in uplifting those communities. And you will see, you know, you have to implement things before you can make an assessment of it, correct? What the PNM is telling people is fear-mongering. The only argument that they logically have is going back to race, that we are stigmatizing against African people. And, you know, it's something I forgot to say in the Senate. Does the PNM really believe they are so disconnected with their own constituencies? They believe it's only African people living in the East-West corridor? We have all kind of people living on the East-West corridor. All people of Trinidad and Tobago. So they're trying to raise the specter of fear-mongering, race-baiting to advance the argument, because there is no argument against this. It has worked in Jamaica like a peach. It has worked, and they know that. As a matter of fact, it's Trinidad and Tobago aware that these ZOSOs were first, the legislation for it was crafted by the PNM. So they now come with their hypocritical selves to rally against it because they know this is something that is going to work. The PNM is not interested in what works. You know. They're interested in chaos and mayhem to maintain their control of the treasury and to maintain their corrupt. I mean, the PNM has corrupted this country for 62 years. How else can you explain that their constituencies for 62 years are the least worst performing constituencies in Trinidad and Tobago? There is no explanation other than they are political failures. But we have to overcome all of that, and Kamala Prasad-Bisasa is determined to get this through, and we hope that the independent senators will realize the importance and the immediacy, the urgency of the now with this legislation.
Yeah, Senator, it's really important that we rise above partisan politics for legislation, national legislation.
Can we?
Well, that's the question. Looking ahead, how do you envision the ZOSOs changing everyday life for families, especially along the East-West corridor, if this legislation goes through?
Well, I would like the media to go to these zones and ask them. I've had calls from mothers. I've had calls from mothers excited. When is this, Senator? When is it? Because they don't understand the process. We have to go to Parliament. We have to get it passed. They're excited. They see a chance for their children to have a normal life. They see it. They see it. I don't want to get now into the anecdotal evidence and the stories that come to us from these people. But they are excited about this. It's giving them a chance. So why don't we give them that chance to get back into the mainstream of life? Why won't we do that?
Yeah. Senator, as a legislator, how do you propose that we will balance the urgency of protecting our citizens, but also our responsibility to fairness and dignity, especially long-term national cohesion? We need to ensure that this process is fair and just. You would agree?
Well, you know, the premise of that national cohesion, as I stated before, you see that gives the impression that along the East-West corridor you have only or mainly African people. That's patently untrue. Whoever knows the corridor know that you could go into a household where the family name is Phillips, and you go in your household is East Indian people, or you go into a family where the household name is Arjun Singh, and it's African people, or Bharat, African people. We have such a diversity that is to be treasured in Trinidad and Tobago and not used for exploitation that the PNM continually tries to do. They have yet to give a cogent coherent reason why these USOs would not be of use on the East-West corridor. They have yet to give a proper explanation of it, other than race. We're going on target a race, we're going to target a race. On the East-West corridor? When last they went on the East-West corridor to know what is the composition on the East-West corridor? I can tell you. I can tell you exactly what. We don't know. I tell you, you can't tell anymore who is who on the East-West corridor. We are so diverse now. But the PNM, as usual, they have lost their moorings, they have lost their bearings, and now they're just flapping around in the sea, you know, trying to find a leader, trying to find a foothold, a way to get back in with the public, and for them, it's race. It's not going to work this time. I think we have a maturing public, you know, we have a more of a social media presence that can influence and direct the narrative that we didn't have before. And that is important because we have to get the message out to the people. We have to get the truth out to the people. And I think this is a good fight. This is a good fight. This is a noble fight.
Senator, being a part of the East-West corridor, growing up there, what's the feedback been like, you know, now that this is on the table? Everybody is for this.
Who, as I said before, who in their right mind would not be for this? Except these political imbeciles. Everybody is for this. This is something that's going to make sure that people have a chance to go along their daily lives, to have a community and social engagement that they haven't had for decades. They're looking at this and seeing their children they're going to have a future, like anyone, like how it is supposed to be. Now, you know, you have to have a historical knowledge of why our communities became this way. You know, I grew up in and around Shafler. When I left in 1982, Shafler was basically a solid middle-class community, aspiring professionals. Many of those people I grew up with are now professionals and retired. Shafler, Mount Lambert, Peterborough, St. Joseph, going up to St. Augustine, even going down into Mova. Many of those communities were middle class. The PNM pauperized, ghettoized these communities within decades, especially the last 10 years of Keith Rowley. Who dead, who live. Let the rich get rich and let the poor take the crumbs. All of these kind of things is what impoverished these communities on the East-West corridor. And we have said, enough. Kamala Prasad Bisasa has taken a decision, and she will not be deterred. She will not be deterred because that is the kind of leadership we need to make sure that our people who have been denied the opportunity to have decent lives, that they get those opportunities right now. Not next year. We're not kicking the can down the road like the PNM has done for decades. We are addressing it right now. Are you with us? I think most Trinbagonians are with us. I think most PNMites will not be with us because they want continued chaos and mayhem, because in those conditions corruption thrives. And that is what they're about. Tell me who has gotten rich under the PNM, except certain communities and except PNM ministers. Who has improved among our main stakeholders? No one. No one.
All right, Senator, that's where we wrap it up this morning for this conversation. Any final words to those living in affected communities? You know, what this bill is intended to do for them and why should they support this?
This is intended to bring you back into the mainstream, bring you back into a life where most Trinbagonians, given the wealth that we have in this country, given the wealth that you all should be a part of. This is what this is for. This is for you. Do not be deterred by the narrative, the race baiting of the PNMites. Do not be deterred by them. Hold fast to your beliefs and the beliefs of this government, and we will get through this together.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator David Nackett, for joining us on Trinidad and Tobago today. Follow us for these stories and more at TTT Live Online. If you have a story idea, a press release, or you want to collaborate with us, well, we'd love to hear from you. Contact us today at ttt@ttt.co.tt and be part of the conversation that's shaping our nation. Trinidad and Tobago Today. News you can trust, stories that matter. Also, catch our sister station Next 99.1 FM as they roll into the Southland plan. Ramparsaad's restaurant and bar, they're coming. Thursday, January 29th, that's this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. at Bastair Moruga. Get ready for 100% soca, 100% vibes, 100% dominance. And guess what? It's not the last train. The very next day, they roll straight into Siparia for another massive showdown of vibes and carnival madness. Rampy's Bar, all roads lead to you. The best part? It's absolutely free. So grab your crew, your flag, and go pump with Team 99.1 FM. Want more details? Make sure to like, love, and follow them at Next 99.1 FM. Just about a few minutes before 7 o'clock, we've got Carrie coming up with the major network news on TTT.
Struggling with heart health or frequent migraines? Discover the simple steps to reclaim your energy and vitality.
We're diving into a topic that affects about 422 million people around the world: diabetes.
Tune into Wellness Unlocked, the series that delivers expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your health and well-being. Your health matters. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on TTT and take the first step toward better health.
Watch the passion building and the voices roaring. When the mission done and the game is won. When the music talking and the big stage calling, the culture comes alive and it's just endless vibes. The future's bright, we'll be more bright. Now it's sweet time, the time to shine. Life is on, it's no time to be timid. So chase the dreams, live without limit. Is on with Be Mobile.
Join the next generation of change makers on CZIT Secondary School Climate Quiz every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and Saturday at 5:50 p.m. only on TTT. Brought to you by Fruiter. Throwback Thursdays on TTT takes a whole new meaning this Carnival season. We're digging into the archives and bringing you the moment that made Carnival unforgettable. The music that made us throw our waistlines, the fetes that had flags waving, and the energy that carried us from the stage to the road. From iconic performances to unforgettable stage moments, from Panorama to the Marsh Gras, from Soca Monarch to concerts, where one beat could mash up the whole place. This is the Carnival we know and love. Raw, real, unfiltered. The kind of carnival that had us jamming without a care, living in the moment, and carrying the vibes long after the music stopped. This Carnival season, Throwback Thursday on TTT isn't just about looking back, it's about reconnecting with the spirit, the freedom, and the culture that live inside all of us. So whether you were there when it happened or experiencing it for the first time, pull up, tune in, and relive the vibes. Throwback Thursdays, the Carnival edition, only on TTT, the home of Carnival.
This is my everyday.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update at 7. I'm Carrie Roberts, making the news at this time. Finance Minister Devendra Nath Tanku has refuted claims that government is planning to devalue the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Speaking to reporters on Sunday, he accused the opposition of fear-mongering, arguing that their claims have no relation to government's actual fiscal strategy.
I know that the media and that the listening population knows better than to take advice or information from any unsolicited, uninformed news source, unethical and inappropriate conduct, and to get the news from where it is generated here. There has been no devaluation, and the fear-mongering of the PNM, I almost said race-baiting, but that's a factor too. The fear-mongering and the race-baiting of the PNM is a desperate attempt to cover up their misdeeds.
He also dismissed claims that government is heading into an International Monetary Fund or IMF program.
This government has not approached the IMF for any structural adjustment mechanisms. The IMF is due in Trinidad and Tobago, I believe, next week. But that's part of their normal article for consultation, in which they look at the economy, look at the initiatives of the government, and make an assessment of how things are going. This government is not taking advice from the IMF. We don't need it.
In other news, 5 months after securing the production sharing contract for Block TTUD-1, preparations for TNT's next major deepwater exploration push already accelerating. Government ministers on Friday toured the Amazon Warrior in Chaguaramas, one of the world's advanced seismic research vessels, as it starts to begin a major 3D survey in local deepwater acreage. The vessel, operated by Shearwater Geoservices, was contracted by ExxonMobil to conduct the survey over Block TTUD-1. The Amazon Warrior was scheduled to depart on Sunday. ExxonMobil, Trinidad and Tobago Deepwater Limited, and Shearwater Geoservices said the timeline reflected efficient coordination that allowed the contract to be finalized and the vessel to enter the country within that period. The Energy Chamber of Trinidad and Tobago has moved swiftly to guide contractors through the termination of the Safe to Work or STO certification requirement for state-owned energy companies following government's announcement on Thursday. In a notice to its contractor members, the Chamber acknowledged that the policy change may disrupt operational plans and outlined clear options for companies at different stages of the STO audit process. The Chamber noted that contractors who have paid for audits that have not yet begun may cancel and receive full refunds. It added that those with ongoing audits can choose whether to complete the process, or if they opt out, fees will also be prorated based on work already completed. However, it noted that STO audits that have been fully completed are not eligible for reimbursement since the service has been fully rendered. The Chamber emphasized its continued commitment to supporting contractors and maintaining strong safety standards during the transition. In some sport now, head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago senior women's football team, Ayana Russell, said she expects her squad to improve in all areas of their game. Her remarks came after TNT played to a 2-2 draw with Curaçao in their opening match of the CONCACAF Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifiers. Trinidad and Tobago, currently atop Group F, will face Barbados in their second match on Wednesday.
We had to do a lot of work in terms of the organization of the team in the days prior, but now and definitely after the game, you see where we definitely need to spend some time in front of the goal, a little bit more, just to get them, accustomed to playing with each other and just moving on and off the ball and just finishing the chances and being a little more ruthless in front of the goal. So definitely we'll be spending some time in our middle to final to prepare for the next season.
And that's what's making the news at this time. I am Carrie Roberts. We now return to Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Next, 99.1 FM, Soca Dominion, where Soca lives.
Give me a chance to wine on you, so I can win with you, and I can jam with you. Give me another chance so I can... Bring your team, bring your flags, bring your vibes. Next 99.1 FM is taking over the Savannah. Sunday 1st February, we are bringing the energy for Jam Iron on the greens. This one you don't want to miss, and it's all inclusive. So secure your packages early. Get yours today on islandetickets.com. Lock in your spot and lock in your team. Next 99.1 FM, the next level of radio. Bring your team, bring your flags, bring your vibes. Next 99.1 FM is taking over the Savannah. Sunday 1st February, we are bringing the energy for Jam Iron on the greens. This one you don't want to miss, and it's all inclusive. So secure your packages early. Get yours today on islandetickets.com. Lock in your spot and lock in your team. Next 99.1 FM, the next level of radio.
Carnival is more than a season. It's who we are. It's rhythm, color, history, and pure vibes from start to finish. And this Carnival TTT, in partnership with the National Carnival Commission, is bringing you all the major moments live and full of energy. We kick things off with the youths of Steel at Junior Panorama. Then it's Pan, Power, all the way at Panorama, where the music hits hard and the passion runs dry. Celebrate the future of Calypso at the Junior Calypso Monarch and witness the lyrical mastery at Calypso Fiesta. Then step back into history with the reenactment of the Cambile riots. Don't miss the creativity and spectacle of the kings and queens of Carnival. And be sure to stay tuned as we turn it all the way up for the March Gras. Pure performance, pure pageantry, pure Carnival magic. Then follow the heartbeat of the nation with the parade of the bands on Carnival Monday and Tuesday, when the streets come alive with color, rhythm, and freedom. Live broadcasts, special shows, all the vibes. This Carnival season, don't just watch it, feel it, live it, experience it, right here on TTT.
Somewhere up in Laventille, many years ago, another hammer used to follow him throughout. He used to use it to pull a band, or sometimes a stupid man. All in the savannah, never miss an aroma.
You have to be committed. You have to have perseverance to say, okay, I'm starting at knowing nothing to reach a point where I can perform an entire song.
Trinidad and Tobago has officially secured its place on the global digital stage. I'm sure you've heard of it. Following months of strategic planning and negotiations, our nation has become one of the first countries worldwide to join OpenAI's Education for Countries initiative, a groundbreaking program designed to transform education systems and workforce development through artificial intelligence. And this achievement comes at a pivotal moment as the former Ministry of Public Administration and the Ministry of Digital Transformation merged in May 2025 to form the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence, and what can be boldly described as a commitment to by the government to innovation and digital transformation. Leading this charge is Senator the Honourable Dominic Smith, Minister of MPAAI, whose minister recently secured a historic partnership with OpenAI, positioning Trinidad and Tobago alongside countries like Estonia, Greece, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. Today we chat with Minister Smith to discuss what this partnership means for education, public service, and the future of our nation. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, good morning.
It's good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
I see you had a really busy weekend.
Yeah, we were in Tobago, we were doing fun things.
Yeah, I saw you you participated in a crab race.
I want to tell you that I won that race.
You won! Did you cook the crab? You were asking for curry powder.
You know what, I'm not too good in the kitchen. I let others do
So next time, bring it for us. But congrats on the crab race.
Thank you, thank you.
So Minister Smith, congratulations on this historic achievement, OpenAI. But before we get into the partnership, let's start with the ministry's transformation. In May 2025, two ministries were merged to form this current ministry. Why was this change necessary, in your opinion, and what message does this send to the nation?
Yes, well, let me first say good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. A bright and sunny Monday morning. And to your listening and viewing public, I want to wish them a beautiful week ahead. You know, the concept of merging two ministries is always something that some people seem as strange, but this was a natural fit. You have on one hand, you have the public service and the administration of the public service through the Ministry of Public Admin. And then you had the ministry that was created for digital transformation to really bridge the gap between, I would say, the old and the new. With AI and advanced technology emerging globally as not only as a buzz concept, but as a practical philosophy, we thought it necessary, and through the leadership of the Prime Minister, to modernize the public service and advance modern technology in the same vein. So the combination really is a natural fit. We have, on one end, we want to train and develop and upskill public servants. We want to integrate technology into the public service so that we could create efficiency. And digital transformation on its own, it can do so much, but when we integrate it into the public service now, we can see the efficiency gains, we can see cost reduction, we can really expand the knowledge base of the human capital for Trinidad and Tobago, and that was the plan.
So let's talk about our rapidly digitizing global economy. How does this new ministry structure better position Trinidad and Tobago to compete in this type of economy?
Yeah, it's really a basic concept that you either are exporters or importers of technology. And typically the history of the Caribbean, even from our colonial past, has been that we have been net importers of technology. We look at all of the software services that we use within the ministry. We look at the social media channels that we utilize. All of these are, quite frankly, imported technology. And what we wanted to do was, as a country, because artificial intelligence is new, it's now forming its foundation. The world over, not solely Trinidad, has been grappling with its effect and its impact. And so we wanted to be not just participants of the product, but we wanted to expand our reach and actively be involved in the shaping of how it will be used in the Caribbean and, of course, Latin America as well.
So let's talk about this accomplishment. Trinidad and Tobago is now part of OpenAI's Education for Countries initiative. That's correct, right?
Correct.
Now, this places us in the first cohort of countries globally.
Yes, correct.
Can you explain in simple terms to everyone what the initiative is and why is this so significant for us? What does this partnership represent for our nation?
Well, fundamentally, it represents a vision. Right? A vision to be leaders in the space, a vision to be the leaders in technology, and also to really craft new avenues for revenue generation through the ICT sector. That's what we're trying to do, build models that can now derive revenue for the country outside of our traditional sectors. That's one. Secondly, OpenAI is a $1 trillion company. It's one of the first companies globally to hit that $1 trillion US dollar mark, right? So it's not a small ask when a country such as ours with 1.4 million people, with an annual budget of 60 billion, we are part of that unique cohort through the vision of the Prime Minister, but also through the dedication of the ministry, looking for these multilateral organizations to see what knowledge transfer can be gained from them. And so we embarked upon that about 4 months ago, during my first trip to New York through the UNGA. Many would have seen that we've been participating with conversations with stakeholders, with organizations such as the UN, UNESCO, the UNDP, and by extension, a part of that global setting, several companies were also participants in and around this space. So we began to have a conversation with the experts in AI. Naturally, the ministry is an AI-driven or layered ministry, and we wanted to see what is being done globally and how can we benchmark what is best practice. So conversations happen, a lot of several meetings after, and it resulted in Trinidad and Tobago being selected among many countries, 180 plus, to be part of what they call the ChatGPT EDU, right? And that's no small task. So it's a big congratulations to the ministry and the team, a big congratulations to the Prime Minister, of course, and by extension, the citizens of Trinidad. Now, what can that bring for us? Well, one, we are leading the charge. That's one. We are early adopters, and early adopters are typically the countries that benefit the most. What are we trying to accomplish with it? Well, it's twofold. We have the challenge where technology is advancing at such a rapid pace. We have to also couple that with the advancement of the human capital development. So persons would be trained, they would be supplied with information, obviously, through ChatGPT and through OpenAI as a company. We'll also be doing a number of initiatives within schools, partnering with the Ministry of Education to really seamlessly integrate artificial intelligence as a tool in the learning environment. By extension, for the public service, what this does is that it takes routine tasks that they would typically do and essentially make it more efficient, allow them parts for efficiency within the public service so that they can now go on to more tasks, do different things. And so it's an advancement, it's an efficiency creation, and by extension, on the aggregate level, the country will see a reduction in costs that the public sector typically incurs. And we're excited by that cost saving.
So OpenAI has already deployed tools like ChatGPT, EDU in countries like Estonia, as we spoke about before. What lessons are we learning from these pilot countries that TNT can take?
I think for one, the kids are, as much as possible, learning rapidly. It allows and facilitates the transfer of knowledge a lot more quickly. There's more interaction as well. So in terms of the psychology of the child and how they learn and develop, it allows them to do this more rapidly. By extension, they're progressing more quickly in what would be typical learning spaces. And I think that's important for us as we train and develop our young ones to adapt to the changing work environment, right? In 30 years, I believe, not 30 years, sorry, in the next 5 to 10 years,
yeah.
40% of the jobs in the market will change.
I saw that.
I know you do your research.
Yeah,
that
was
right?
my next question, actually.
Yeah, so we can either be prepared for that change or sit on the sidelines and not be participants in that economy. We don't want that for our future generation, and so the education component is very important. What about the public servants?
Yeah.
We expect that our human capital, in fact, has always been top tier in terms of our literacy rates, etc. And what we haven't had, though, is a more strategic approach to future employment. So yes, you may start your career in the public service, but what opportunities are outside of the public service, even internationally, that our nationals can engage in? I think if we train on upskill our staff in the public service for the new jobs, the new workforce, then they themselves can have more equality in terms of opportunities, and by extension advance themselves and essentially their families.
But not just train, but also certify.
Correct.
That's also very important.
Correct, yeah. You're right. So the certification will also come as well as a byproduct of the training. And that can be used not only in Trinidad, it can be used regionally, it can be used across the globe.
So let's talk about the government ministries and implementing AI. That's always a conversation that once this ministry was created, the merge happened, that was always something on the table. How can AI improve the efficiency and transparency, especially with these services in your government ministries?
Yeah, I think the most important thing with the AI is not just the technology, but it's the insights that it will derive, right? What do I mean by insights? Well, the world is moving towards, and has moved, even the private sector, towards KPIs, right? What are your performance metrics? The vision is that each ministry would have a performance dashboard. They would have a way in which they can, judge themselves above the average. And see what they're doing well and what they're not doing well. So the technology is really not for its own use. It's really to modernize as much as possible, provide valuable insights, use the data to then say, okay, what are the policy decisions that can come out of this? So as an example, maybe in the public service, there's an opportunity for us to look at, the technology that we use internally. Do we buy more than we need to use, right? That's something that the artificial intelligence technology can demonstrate to us, right? So buy once, share many times as a concept. That also brings into the question the silos that have been established across ministries. You'd have one ministry in education, as an example, using Microsoft. They've bought 100 licenses. In the Ministry of Public Admin, we've bought 1,000. Education, over the course of one budgeted year, might use 10 of those. MPA might use 900. But there's spare capacity now that can be transferred. How do we know there's spare capacity? So we must have the systems in place to, one, give us the insights, give us the information, and then use that information to now benefit the wider society, remove the wastage, and by extension, reduce the costs to the government.
I know more than many ministries, your job and your ministry is one that's rapidly evolving. There's always something happening with AI, and it's such a dynamic situation. So, from the family group chats and all the fake news from the aunties and everything going on, and sometimes they'll bring something to you and say, look, you didn't see this, but it's actually AI. So you have a really tough job, especially having a ministry that's dedicated to AI.
No.
With AI adoption comes concerns about ethics, even data privacy, but most of all, misinformation. So how is the government ensuring that AI is implemented responsibly?
Yeah, when I'm asked this question, I think it's a very important question. with AI and with most technology, there's massive amounts of opportunity, but as you rightly put, there's also quite a bit of risk. And early on, when we looked at what the more developed nations were doing and how they were treating with it, we realized very quickly that it's a work in progress, right? So one, the public needs to understand that this is something that all countries are sort of facing at the same time. There isn't much benchmark in terms of what can be done, but certainly what we have to do is to create guardrails, which we have been doing. We have to sort of create the parameters for use and for ethical use, for safe use. So the ministry, by extension in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, we would have put together a committee which is to debunk fake news, to also deal with scams. Typically the vulnerable fall into these scams, the elderly, etc. So we've put together a ministerial committee to treat with that. We've also set up a committee that deals with issues of cybersecurity and unrelated activity, as you said, fake news and the use of visual technology to essentially trick persons. So we've set up these committees. They're now becoming active, and as time progresses, we'll get the feedback loop coming. We'll do our evaluation, we'll monitor, and we'll take it step by step.
Will these committees also oversee the introduction of AI tools in schools as well?
Yeah,
and
so
to ensure that the young people are protected, right?
Yeah, certainly. So that's definitely down the channel. We have been looking at ways in which we can, as much as possible, get stakeholder feedback. Also, speak to the persons who are in the know, the subject matter experts, get their involvement, get stakeholders from the church, from other areas of the national community, and really it's a collaborative approach. So we want to be as inclusive as possible and drive change through various stakeholders.
So it goes without saying that Trinidad and Tobago has now been positioned as a regional pioneer in AI adoption. How important is this? I mean, it's bragging rights, yes, but how important is this leadership role within the Caribbean? Because now when other Caribbean countries follow suit, they can say, well, Trinidad did this before.
Yeah.
So now that's some heavy a heavy burden on your shoulders as the minister of this charge. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, though we love the bragging rights, we're not endeavoring for the bragging rights. The purpose of this is really to advance the people. The Prime Minister has always said any technology and any policy that we would put forward as a government must be people-centered and people-focused. And so it really extends what the mandate of the ministry is. We're trying to create a digital society, one that everyone can use technology, whether you're in Tobago, whether you're Sandy Grande, in South, anywhere, access to technology. And then government services, right? How do we make it more efficient? How do we allow persons to be able to utilize services in one space? That's important for us. And the connectivity of that, and then be a revenue generator as well, right? So we want to use technology, but also not for its own use. We want to be productive citizens. We want to engage in the technology and allow it to then, derive an income for us. So we're challenged by many things, but at the same time, we're excited by the opportunity that the technology will bring and how it will advance the government's agenda. Moving forward.
Minister Smith, what's next for the ministry following this partnership? Can we expect more international collaborations?
I would say definitely so, but the collaborations don't only extend to companies, they extend to organizations. Last week alone, we launched 2 massive initiatives. One is called the ILA, which is the Artificial Intelligence Landscape Assessment. That was done in collaboration with the UNDP, and so we're not taking these advances on our own. We're seeking advice. We're leaning on global partnerships, multilateral organizations that we have good history with to also advance those policies. We also did the random readiness assessment as well, also called the RAM. That was done in connection with the UNDP and the UNESCO. And it really was looking at, are we ready as a society for AI, right? And so all of those things are important because you don't want to, put the cart before the horse, right, as they say. and so we're taking the right steps. We're taking the mature approach to do the assessments and then follow through with what is good strategy and policy. At the end of the day, you will see more partnerships because this road is not to be done alone. The world is also embracing the change. And so I can tell you that in the next weeks, months, there are a number of things that are coming down the pipeline, so the citizens can look forward to more change, but more importantly, change that will affect their lives directly in a positive way.
And hopefully we'll be discussing that on Trinidad and Tobago today. Minister, I like to usually wrap up with a very open question. So there is a common fear that the use of AI is dangerous and a negative thing. Sometimes you tell the older people, well, it's AI, well, that's not good, it does something, or it messes with your brain, or it's a lot of negativity surrounding AI sometimes, especially for the uninformed. What message would you like to send to our viewers this morning and members of the public who may be unsure or even fearful about the rise of AI or the machines are going to take over? What do you want to tell them?
Well, what I would tell them, fundamentally trust in God, right? He's our creator, and all things are in his hands. We can't be anxious about change as a nation. Specifically, the vulnerable, we need to take care of them. Any concerns are valid concerns, and so the role and responsibility of the government is to guide the change, reduce the impact of change. But I will say that we're not fighting this battle alone. Globally, many countries have also had to change and adapt. It's not to be fearful, it's to be proactive in our approach. And so that is what the government has been doing. We're not going to be left on the sidelines of the change in technology and this, what they call the new wave of industrial revolution, but we will be active participants in it. And by doing so, we can shape what that means for Trinidad and Tobago. We can shape what artificial intelligence can be for nations such as ours. As a government and through the leadership of the Prime Minister, we've taken the bold step to say we will lead the charge, and we will also help our counterparts across the Caribbean and in Latin America as we learn and do. And so I would say to the national public, it's an optimistic time. 2026 will bring many benefits, many transformations to the citizens and their lives. And me, wearing the other hat, I'm also excited as well for the many things that we have in the coming weeks and months, down the pipeline. So look forward to many, many things.
Yeah, embrace it. So I feel like we all love ChatGPT. I think we can. What's your favorite AI platform?
I use a number. I have to be agnostic because I'm looking at what can benefit all. But I use it. Yes. Funny story. Previously, artificial intelligence and most technology were banned in ministries. So you couldn't even use ChatGPT in the ministry.
And now we have a ministry dedicated to artificial intelligence.
Well, as soon as we came in, we said, well, you can't have a ministry named AI and you're not using AI.
Right.
So it's important for us to change the dynamics of even the structure of the ministries and how they work and operate, and what was in the past can't be used in the future if we really want to make an impact on people's lives. So that's the message. Embrace change. And the positive things come from embracing change.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator Dominic Smith, for joining us this morning, talking about OpenAI, that new partnership, and of course, all things artificial intelligence going forward for Trinidad and Tobago. We take a short break. When we come back, we've got the winner of the Queen's competition joining us this morning, and so much more on Trinidad and Tobago today.
Jump in a car after a fete knowing that the driver more tipsy than you? Yeah, you make it home, but not everybody lucky like you. No, we're not taking that chance in Carnival 2026, alright? We're making better choices. Choose a designated driver or book a ride. Remember, better choices, safer Carnival. I could pick mango, I could pick guava, I could pick tamarind. We making better choices, so designate a driver. Photo! Roti, she love the choker, she love the bygone.
Every morning begins with a story, the headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you, conversations that spark new ideas, stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
Unleash your imagination with TTT's Terrific Toon Time. Join us as we stop evil geniuses from taking over the world on Super Z, or hop on board for a journey into outer space with Galaxy Kids. Be a part of our quest to save the forest alongside our robot pals from Bugspot Ignition. Or let's go exploring with Duda and Dada. Catch Terrific Toon Time Monday to Friday at 8:30 a.m. and 4:10 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. It's fun-filled adventure with Terrific Toon Time, right here on TTT.
People to sing Akaiso, Akaiso for Trinbago. They say that I am the people's voice. They say, girl, you are the voice of the people. Do you want to sing about we struggle? So right now, girl, you don't have a choice. And they say we need somebody to be the voice for we, to resolve the injustices that we face daily. I say who me? They say yes, but then I had to tell them no. Cause other than Carnival time, all you just have no use for Calypso. All you just can't wait for Carnival to done. As Ash Wednesday reach, all you just rest me down. So don't call me, call reggae rap or dancehall. Each day as you pick up the paper is another word. Trinbago lose and next son of those. Don't call me, call reggae rap or dancehall. After Sunday night I did the Marsh Crash show. All you just have no use for Calypso. Now that the competition done, it's kicking me ass, I just have to run. So when criminals making you cry and you don't hear my voice, you should know why. Trinbago is all you have it so. Cause all you already have no love for Calypso. That's the truth and all you know. Trinbagonians have no love for Calypso.
This morning, as we turn our focus to Carnival 2026, we take a look at the 2026 National Women's Action Committee Calypso Queen competition, and of course the upcoming NACC Young King Calypso Monarch competition. Joining us via phone this morning, we've got the chairman of the National Action Cultural Committee, Mbao Mohini, and on set is the beautiful, radiant Tamika Darius, the 2026 National Calypso Queen. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And today we're chatting a bit about last night where the Queen's competition took place at Queen's Hall. Good morning, Tamika.
Morning.
And good morning, Mr. Mohini.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thanks.
All right, well, it's good to have you here with us. Tamika is in studio with us. Tamika, you did not get much rest last night.
For the week, actually.
But I'm sure you're on a high right now.
Yes, well.
So working on adrenaline.
Yes, working on it.
So Tamika, how did it feel the moment you were announced National Calypso Queen 2026? What was going through your mind at that time on the stage?
No, actually, I got the call.
Oh, not on the stage?
No, not on the stage. I was actually asleep.
Oh.
So I was in between. Am I dreaming?
So when you finished your performance, how did you feel? Like, okay, this is a winning one. I think I have this.
Actually,
what you felt?
The adrenaline was so much, I had to literally lay flat on the floor after my performance. And then I had to go straight to Calypso Dynasty because we had the judges there last night.
And still she's here this morning looking so beautiful. What message were you most intentional about delivering through your performances this season, Tamika?
Show some love and respect for the art form that is Calypso. Because, I mean, Calypso, true Calypso stories are told, all stories are told, so we need to love it up some more.
Yeah. Calypso has always been a voice for social commentary, too, and after you've answered, Mr. Mohini could also weigh in on this. What issues are you most passionate about addressing? I know this one's called No Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about the song in particular. So this song was actually written by my mom, Angela Darius, and it was written out of frustration and also frustration, and honesty, because you know, all through the year we listen to all types of music, everything besides Calypso. So you had the rap, the dancehall, the reggae, and as soon as the season comes around, the Carnival season comes around, you would see messages, you will see posts on Facebook like, Calypsonians, you all have one job and we have this topic, and
making you feel like it's just seasonal.
So they want Calypso to deal with the real issues, but then as Ash Wednesday comes now, the rest on Calypso
This is
again.
not just for Carnival.
Not just for Carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
let's take a pause there. Mr. Mohini, I know you're with us. What do you think about this? Calypso is not seasonal, and recently, well, you're agreeing that it can become that way and it can seem that way. What are your views on this?
Okay, she's quite correct. You know, the thing about it is that our culture was shackled in chains, just like our people shackled in the plantations. As a matter of fact, Calypso grew out of the plantation, so that all coming in the 50s, in the 60s, Calypso was not heard outside of Carnival. As a matter of fact, on Independence Night, right, when the chief servant asked the DJ to put on a Calypso, the audience boiled it down. They said, no, this is not Carnival, we don't want this. So that is quite correct. And the Calypsonian has played and continues to play such a role in informing the public, in providing philosophy, thoughts, as well as entertainment. So this should be an art form that should be recognized and appreciated throughout the year. As a matter of fact, it is something I've been telling the Calypsonians that when you go back to the 40s, you will see that the first record to sell 1 million copies in the world was Calypso. So that it did gain international recognition. But as Valentino would have said, after that it went right back to the friggin' tent. But we need to take it beyond the tent. We need to take it into the communities. And this year I am very pleased with what NWAC did, in that they look at some of the artists who would have won the Queen competition in the past and recognize that quite a number of them in recent years were quite young. So they allowed first-time winners, or those who only had won it once, to come back into the competition. And that was part of what expanded it. But generally, I am very pleased to see both in the Queens and the Kings, the art form is experiencing growth, so that you had about 100% increase in the number of participants, because we started with our audition where you had approximately 80 queens. Then they moved to what we did for the first time. Due to the numbers, we couldn't go straight to the finals, so we had the semi-finals at the John Cupid Carnival Village. The queens on the 11th the Kings on the 18th of this month here. And that, I think that gave the Queens that motivation, because here they were in a competitive environment in the semifinals on the 11th, and those who went forward realized the quality that existed, and they lifted their performance, so that last night was really fantastic. I don't know if, Tamika Darius, I extend my congratulations to you.
Thank you.
On being the 2026 National Calypso Queen. But in second place, you had Naomi Sinnott singing Talking Drum, Corinne Williams-Figaro, who we often refer to as Tiny, singing You Never Know, Alana Sinnott-Khan, Lady Watchman, No Venezuela, Ife Allen, Real Victory, Tightrope, and in sixth position, you had Giselle Fraser coming out of Tobago, No Village Can't. And with a beautiful calypso about, the fact that the community has to raise the child, the community has to sustain the values. So that it was a fantastic competition. And as I said, they lifted it, because when they realized the level of the competition coming out of the semis, everyone knew that they had to come very good to win this competition.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. Mohini. Tamika, a question for you. What's next for you now that you're wearing this crown? Any advocacy? Any what music? Are you creating any new music currently, or are you taking a little break?
Also, last night I sang for the judges, so we await their decision on the 41st Skinner Pack, and I also mentor my son, who is the reigning Junior Calypso Monarch, and he is actually defending 3 titles this year.
Yes, that's Zayden, right?
Zayden, yes. So I have to do
So you have to be a mummy now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a performer. You're a performer and a queen last night, and now you're moving back into mummy mode.
Yes.
Yeah. So his name is Zayden Darius.
Yes.
Yes. And how is preparations for him?
Well, preparation for us starts way before the competition. For me, I literally live with my song. Yeah, I live it. I sit with the lyrics, and we rehearse very regularly.
You breathe the lyrics.
Yes.
You become one with the lyrics.
Yes, become one.
On a final note, Mr. Mohini, we know that the King's competition, preparations for the King's competition are underway. Tell us about the past rounds and what we can look forward to for the finals.
Well, I would say that the King's competition is just as competitive. Yes. And we move to the grandstand at Queen's Park Savannah next week, Tuesday, the 3rd of February. And just like with the Queen, the numbers increase, and the quality this year is exceptional. Okay, so we invite everyone to come down to the grandstand, 7:30 p.m. next week, Tuesday. Okay?
All right.
We have just the same amount. We have 16 participants. Okay, because the Queens came through. There were 80 entrants who entered the competition. 30 went to the semi-finals, and last night we had 16 finalists. And we have the same pattern for the Young Kings coming out on Tuesday next week at the grandstand, Queen's Park Savannah.
Thank you, Mr. Mohini, for joining us this morning on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Congratulations to you once again. Tamika, we have that performance for you. No Love, the winner of the competition this year, Tamika Darius. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Here it is.
We struggle. So right now, girl, you don't have a choice. And they say we need somebody to be the voice for we, to resolve the injustices that we face daily. I say who me? They say yes, but then I had to tell them no. 'Cause all that time, carnival time, all you just have no use for Calypso. All you just can't wait for carnival to done. As Ash Wednesday reach, all you just rest me down. So don't call me, call reggae rap or dancehall. Each day as you pick up the paper is another murder. Trinidad lose and next on a dance. Don't call me, call reggae rap or dancehall. After Sunday night I did the marsh crash show. All you just have no use for Calypso. Now that the competition done, it's kicking me ass, I just have to run. So when criminals making you cry and you don't hear my voice, you should know why. Trend me go is all you have it so, 'cause all you already have no love for.
Attention viewers in Trinidad and Tobago. The Truth of God now airs on the TTT network every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You won't want to miss the dynamic preaching of Pastor Jennings as he speaks from God's Holy Bible. The Truth of God, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the TTT network.
Somewhere up in Laventille, many years ago, another hammer used to follow him throughout. He used to use it to pong a band, but sometimes a stupid man, all in the savannah, never miss an aroma.
You have to be committed. You have to have perseverance to say, okay, I'm starting at knowing nothing to reach a point where I can perform an entire song.
Now listen, this is your boy Carlos Edwards, and as a former player, let me tell you, it's the fans, man. The fans that made the game, that's the 12th man right there. And when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago, there's only one 12th man you need to know. My guy, Andre Errol Baptiste on TTT, is bringing the heat every Tuesday.
Every morning begins with a story, the headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you, conversations that spark new ideas, stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
Freedom to make we sway. Freedom to dingle. Freedom. Champagne, wine and just telele. 'Tis the season to break away. 'Tis the season to break away. Yeah, yeah. 'Tis the season to break away. Yeah. 'Tis the season to break away.
My son was a good boy, words of a mother. As he's laying down on the asphalt, bleeding out on the corner, she's calling on Jesus' name, asking why did they kill him. My son was a gentle soul, he never do nobody nothing. Then a man shout, woman. The son went on a banging in a stolen vehicle. While you feel the next team swing back, the boy killed 3 people. Speeding off at the scene, he went on.
Last year, he stepped onto the Young King stage and shook the nation with a powerful piece of social commentary called Justice. earning himself the crown and cementing his place among Calypso's rising voices. Now, 1 year later, he returns from dancehall roots to conscious Calypso. He's using music to challenge mindsets and, just tell real stories about everyday survival through his latest single, Rat Race. Today, I'm joined by reigning young king, Anthony Squeezy Rankin LaFleur. Welcome to you, Mr. Rankin.
Morning to Trinidad and Tobago, and morning to everybody else.
So, Squeezy, last year you won the Young Kings with Justice. How does this season feel for you? Does it feel different emotionally and mentally? How are you preparing for this season?
How to put it, buddy? This season, it's a little more kind of hectic than last year, but the preparation going good so far.
Yeah?
Going good so far.
Squeezy, people often say heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm sure you've heard that before. What kind of pressure comes with, being the reigning champion and returning as that?
Well, the Young King is just once you can enter, once you win, you can go back. So how I won the Young King last year, I can't go back. Somebody else had to get an next chance. That is how that rules of Young Kings from ever since before. Alright? So I'm not going back there to defend that crown because that's a one-off. Alright? And I'm more leaning into the big yard this year. Last night, in the 10th at Australian, it was judges' night. So, waiting on results to see if we get into go Skinner Park right now. Alright? So, the preparation is for right now.
Squeezy, your winning song Justice talked about crime and accountability, and this year you have Rat Race. So, you're focusing on everyday struggle and survival. Tell us about Rat Race and who does it speak to most directly?
Well, Rat Race is a song that speaks to everyone because every one of us will show, how to put it, a part of this struggle on a daily basis where, you're trying to rise, you're trying to reach a different level in life, and it always has somebody coming to try to pull you down, and then we face with issues in the country where sometimes, most of the times, here we talk about corrupt police officers, corrupt politicians. This is what the song speaks about, where men want to pay tax, and the struggles of life where you're rising, and somebody's always there to try to pull you down. This is what justice is about. Rat Race is about.
You're mixing it up.
yeah, I got mixed up with the two songs. We always start with justice. Right? Yeah, this is what Rat Race is about.
Well, Squeezy, I'm really interested to know, and off air we were having this discussion. You come from dancehall and freestyle roots, right? So what made you decide to step fully into Calypso?
Well, in the dancehall and the freestyle, yes, okay. But if you realize how the dancehallers go, right, especially in Trinidad here now, is that kind of music where it's more younger audience, based on a younger audience, that's number one. And number two, as you get older, you just get more wisdom, right? The more older you get, the more wise you're supposed to get. And I decided, I have a lot of things to say, there are a lot of things to speak about, and I can't speak about it in that particular genre of music. And then sometimes in the dance, they hire by myself, and I reach in the party, and I was one of the oldest person in the party, so I just, or sometimes the oldest person in the party, so I just decided, it's time to come home, musically speaking, and I decided to walk this path, where in the Calypso fraternity, where I could tell my stories and address the issues that is needed to be addressed in the country.
That's right. Thank you so much, Squeezy Rankin, for joining us. We want to end with a bit of that music video rat race for 2026.
Yes.
Good luck in the upcoming competition, and thank you for being here with us on TNT today.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. Sorry I couldn't be in the studio. But
that's okay. We'll try again another time. Thank you very, very much. Well, that brings us to the end of another Trinidad and Tobago Today. We started your week hopefully on a great foot with you. A traffic-filled morning, nice weather in store for us today. Please be safe. Don't get your car wrecked. You know that. Carrie's up next with your major network news. See you tomorrow at 6 a.m. on TNT Today.
Rampant with greed and jealousy. They always telling me success breeds envy. Well, nowadays I seen that plenty. People who you never meet will dislike you. Some love to come on social media to fight you. They even run by home your house to spite you. But when God bless you, nobody can blight you. You see the wicked, bad mind and envious. Them set a 21st century Judas. As you start to rise to the top, the way you drop your guard to stand in your back. Oh, whoa. It has some family and so-called friends who wanna see you succeed till the end. About the way you do good in life, but vex when it's better than them. In this rat race, I set a rats with human face. And while we fighting to find we space, it's only rats running around this place. Rat race, I set a rats with human face. And I'll be fighting to find we space. There's only rats running around this place. Whoa, a young brother rising up. He get a box drain subcontract. They send a youth man to shoot him in the back. Because he tell them he can't pay no tax. Whoa, statistics show the place out of order. Rotting from the core like a cancer. Now every youth man is a wannabe monster. So they make up their mind to rock under a number. And while the youth men them gone confused, all these young ladies dressing like they acting a blues. They so forthright and feel they get through till they end up on the hunters search and rescue, yeah. While the media promote the wrong thing, the guns and the drugs and skin out you something. This lifestyle we start to explore. Can't say God is a Trini no more. In this rat race, I set a rats with human face. And I'll be fighting to find we space. It's only rats running around this place. Rat race, I set a rats with human face. And I'll be fighting to find we space. It's only rats running around this place. Rat
Bring your team, bring your flags, bring your vibes. Next 99.1 FM is taking over the savannah. Sunday 1st February, we are bringing the energy for Jam Iron on the greens. This one you don't want to miss, and it's all inclusive. So secure your packages early. Get yours today on islandetickets.com. Lock in your spot and lock in your team. Next 99.1 FM, the next level of radio.
Small island mentality, Chloe, but there's a strength and a vibrancy here that you don't find anywhere else. It resides in our blood, is in the soul of the nation.
Let's get it started. I'm telling you, all work and no play, me say, no way. We don't want no matter that I need a stress reliever. 2 drinks in the hand and a girl in the middle. Guys, we go, we need to find the middle. For the sake of peace of mind, so the middle.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update at 8. I'm Carrie Roberts, making the news at this time. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, Senator David Naked, is refuting claims that the ZOSO bill could stigmatize communities or tarnish TNT's international reputation. Speaking on Trinidad and Tobago Today, he insisted that honesty about conditions on the ground are decisive action are essential to restoring public safety and restoring dignity to residents. He dismissed concern that this heightened security measure would raise red flags internationally, pointing to travel advisories which were issued under previous governments.
In the past, from 2020, foreign embassies were issuing travel warnings in Port of Spain and environs, Belmont, Lavantil, Mova, and that was under the PNM government. So when they come with that duplicitous argument that it's going to damage our international, abject nonsense. What we're doing is showing to the international community that we are taking a decisive stance in uplifting those communities. And you will see, you know, you have to implement things before you can make an assessment of it, correct?
Responding to concerns that designating certain areas as hotspots may further marginalize vulnerable communities, he argued that refusing to name the problem is part of the reason crime has flourished.
You know, we have a level of hypocrisy in Trinidad and Tobago that I like to call out and address. But it's a hotspot. It's a hotspot. People can't move in their communities. People can't go from one street to the next. There's a level of crime. They're lowest on the social indices of education, healthcare, mental health. It's a hot spot. What are we going to call it? A cool spot? What are we going to call it? A good spot? We don't see people going into these communities, from out of those communities. People go into those communities who live there. And they don't live proper lives there. They're not involved in the mainstream there. So we can continue to hide behind our finger, as we say in Arabic. Or we can address the issue.
In other news, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Khadija Amin, has accused the opposition of deliberately misleading the public about funding shortages for local government bodies. She said the remarks from the opposition comes despite figures showing that PNM-controlled corporations receive significantly more money than UNC-led ones for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
In the 2026 budget, the PNM corporations combined got $987.29 million. And that is $181 million more than the $805.46 million that the UNC corporations receive combined. So the figures are there in the Ministry of Finance records that the PNM corporations combined still get more than the UNC corporation. So it is an absolute lie. The claim of the leader of opposition as well as some of those PNM local government representatives who are scraping because they know that a local government election is at hand. And this clearly is their campaign.
Her statement comes following remarks by certain corporations which claim their bodies lack the funding necessary to manage Carnival sanitation.
The parade of the bands in Port of Spain, San Fernando, Arima, as well as the regional carnivals in every region in Trinidad happens every year. So carnival cleanup follows naturally. It is not an emergency. It is not a last-minute discovery. Every regional corporation knows exactly what follows in the time of carnival. Not only on Monday and Tuesday, but in the lead-up as well as thereafter. So any corporation and any mayor or chairman claiming in January that they are not prepared for cleanup after carnival is admitting to poor planning and weak management on their part. This is not a funding issue. This is a leadership issue at the regional corporations.
In some sport news now, Trinidad and Tobago sprint star Jareem "The Dream" Richards says Trinidad and Tobago must urgently shift from finger-pointing to nation-building if it wants to consistently produce world-class athletes. Speaking on Trinidad and Tobago Today, he argued that decades of fragmentation between athletes, coaches and administrators has weakened the sporting pipeline and pushed talent out of the system.
We've always heard people playing the blame game, I guess. Blaming it on athletes, blaming it on coaches, blaming it on government, blaming it on this and that, and everybody just kind of blaming each other on, what it takes to make sport better, what it takes to develop different sports. But I think instead of blaming or pinpointing one specific entity or one specific group, I think it's just better that we just come together and fix the problems that are already there. And I think one of the biggest things is that we just need to, as a group, develop sport. Like, athletes need to do better, coaches need to do better.
Richards recently defeated reigning Olympic 100-meter champion and 8-time world champion Noah Lyles in a photo finish in the men's 300-meter final at the 2026 New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in Boston, Massachusetts. And that was your TTT News Update. I am Carrie Roberts. Have a great day.
This is TTT. Live for local.
My name is Aidan Ali. I was born prematurely and developed retinopathy of prematurity. This is a look through my eyes. It was good.
Problems?
No.
Sure?
No, not today.
Aidan, a 14-year-old Form 2 student of Queen's Royal College, is like any typical student. He has favorite subjects, likes to talk to his friends, and now does online classes. The only thing is, he's visually impaired, and so he has had to adapt to life at school a bit differently.
I would rather online classes because it means that I don't have to get up as early. It's easier to send and receive work. It's also less traveling because I don't really have to travel. Secondary school has been going good so far. I haven't really faced any major challenges. And my subjects are understandable, they're good, they're easy-ish. Well, some of them are, but they're understandable. If it's anything to do with like technology, like what I'm doing here right now, it's easy. It's very easy for me to do that because of what technology has done. It's allowed a lot of applications and stuff to be able to use stuff like screen readers and magnifiers. So I can just turn on the screen reader and it will read out all the text, read all the buttons and everything. My parents and my teachers offer me support. And without their support, I don't think I would be where I am today, where I am right now. I don't think I would have the things that I have right now if it weren't for them.
Well, education has always been important for me, especially literacy. I always thought that all my children should be able to read and write. So from the time Aidan was small, I enlisted him into preschool and then primary school later on. From the time Aidan came home from the hospital, we knew that he was going to be different. He would have vision problems. But his family, which would be his father and I, his aunts and uncles, everybody who's close around him, always had a mindset that Aidan wouldn't be treated differently, that he was going to be treated just like any other normal child who doesn't have a disability. So enlisting him into school was part of that, treating him like every other child. I think the challenges that he would have faced is being in a bigger school where the population is greater than he was accustomed to, being outside for break times and having other children running around him, getting disoriented from that. In the classroom, it was seeing on the board and, you know, the standard way that we teach with chalk and markers or on whiteboard and regular books and print. That were his challenges in the regular school setting. But he was able to overcome them. He was also lucky enough to have a support group in the schools that he was allocated to, where he didn't face any prejudice or hate. Everybody was welcoming to him. So he always had that, that support around him to be able to manage in a regular school setting. We try to guide him as best we can if there's anything that we can do to help him in terms of research and getting the different tools and apparatus for him to achieve his goals.
The Queen's Royal College is an institution that believes in inclusion. One of the first things we